Kia ora, Hello Browns coming to you live from Surprise in Arizona. Hope you're all having a super fantastic sparkling day. Welcome to the end of the week. Finish it Friday, but this is before the Dirt Nap podcast number 1499. Spice up the routine. What the heck? Okay. So we thought we'd talk about spice up the routine. So today, newsletter the weekly newsletter went out today. So if you are not on the list, please go to the link that's scrolling across the bottom of the screen there. That is beforedirtnapnewsletter.com and sign up, and it should send you a copy. If it doesn't, let me know and I'll send it out to you personally. But that one hit today. And one of the topics we talked about in there under the heading of Live Your Best Life Now tip of the week was spice up the routine. And it's just a little small paragraph, but I thought, that would make a really good podcast topic. So here we are, spicing up the routine. What sort of things could you do spontaneously? And spicing up the routine is taking a different drive to work. If you drive to work one way or drive the kids to school one way, change directions, try different streets, try different routes. You never know what you'll come across. In New Zealand, we have a thing that's called tiki touring. And tiki touring is basically you get in the car and you go for a drive and you almost deliberately get lost. And tiki touring is a way of covering up when you actually do get lost and you got to find your way back home again. And it's something that I absolutely love to do, just to go out and get lost. And there's times when we're living at the campground that we would leave the main gate, and the main gate you go left or right. And as we're approaching the main gate, Zephyr would be sitting there looking straight ahead in the back there. And I go, we're going left or right, Zephyr? And whichever way she turned her head, that's the way we went. And I basically almost did that at every major intersection. Or if I came to a T intersection, you kind of had no choice, either left or right. But at the traffic coming up to a major intersection at a traffic light, and you knew it's a big four-way intersection, you could go, okay, we're going straight ahead, to the left or to the right. And whichever way she turned her head, that's where we were. And we found some amazing places and ended up in some back roads out the back there and had to figure our way back again. And we weren't allowed to use the GPS unless we were totally and utterly lost and had to get back in a time crunch. If we didn't have a time crunch, then we just kept driving until we came across something we knew. And we ended up in all sorts of places around Phoenix. We ended up places south, further east, further west, up north. It was quite an adventure ride that we'd go on, and we'd be gone for a couple of hours, 2 to 3 hours, and we'd have a picnic with us. We'd have snacks and drinks and all that sort of stuff. And it's just, that was actually kind of a planned thing to do on Sundays, our Sunday drives. But you could do it any time. And we found different routes. And I also found, like a supermarket that was closer to me than one that I would go to occasionally, because I normally get stuff delivered by Instacart. And so when I was in the campground, and so I'd find a supermarket that was closer, and I thought, oh, I'm going to go give that one a try. And this place is not as far as the other place is, and all of that. And you'd find things that were closer to where you live than the ones that you were using. And also too, I have found quicker routes that way as well. Found a route that's, wonder what, and then figured out where it went, and I went, I got to remember that one, because next time I get traffic on this road, I've now got a detour that I can take. And if you're thinking about driving to work or dropping the kids off at school, you know how hectic the traffic is around you. It's always good to have backup routes and just to change them up every now and again. And there was one time I picked up the boys from their mum's place, and I was driving them back to our place. And I took a wrong turn. And the moment I took that turn, I knew it was a wrong turn. I had to keep going to get to the traffic lights. And I had gone off before the traffic lights. And I knew that I'd taken the wrong turn. And the boys are going, this isn't the way that we got to go. We don't have to. And I says, that's all right. We're just doing a tiki tour. They go, oh, what? I go, a tiki tour. They go, what's that? I said, I just wanted to see what was down here. Found a pink house down there. I thought, well, they obviously don't have a homeowners association in here, because they had some very interesting colored houses in that little section that we turned off on by accident. So if you take a wrong turn somewhere, just explain to the kids you're going on a tiki tour and we're going to explore this new area and see what's there. There may be something good. You might find a new playground for the kids. You might find an ice cream store there. You never know what you'll find. You might find a really cool art store there, like a little arts and crafts store. It's amazing some of the things you can find on the back roads if you just take the time to get off the main road and go and explore the back roads. So that's one thing that you can do is going on tiki toes. Another one is doing like a theme night. All of a sudden, you're sitting there and you're trying to figure out what to do for dinner, and you might say, well, let's do Mexican night. We've got some tacos there. We've got some corn chips. We'll make some nachos. And suddenly you throw together a meal, and you get everybody and you get the family involved with it. Because the kids come, what's for dinner? What's for dinner? What's for dinner? The usual question when my kids come, when's dinner? What's for dinner? Oh, I don't know. But if you think of things that could be fun and entertaining for the kids to help you make, like tacos or pizzas, pita bread. If you've got pita bread, they make great pizza bases. And I quite often, some nights when the boys were staying with us and stuff, is that I would make sure I always have pita bread on hand, and then I would pull the pita bread out, put all the ingredients on there. This is why it's good to have an island with nothing on it, to have a nice big island in a kitchen with nothing on it. Put the stuff out on the thing, like the sauces, like different sauces, different toppings, and give them all a pizza base. Sometimes they went back for a second one, but that was okay. And they all had to fit on one baking sheet, though, for the 5 of us. And it would fit kind of nicely. And I'd heat up the oven, and then everybody had to make their own pizza. It was as simple as that. There's all the toppings. Go for it. Make your own pizza. It has to sit on here. Just remember, the more cheese you put on it, the messier it's going to be, because it's just going to go over the side of the... And I had them make their own pizza. And it was a great, thing. It was sort of like, you'd had a long day at work, and the boys were having it. Like, what are we cooking? I know, I got some pita bread. Let's get them to make their own pizzas, and you use pita bread as a base, and that way everybody gets their own individual pizza as well. And sometimes, because they're just small, you might have to do 2 of those. The other one is they can make their own burritos. Like, you'll heat up the wraps, and you'll get all this stuff out there on the buffet on the island. They make their own burritos. They go sit at the table and they eat. So it's up to them what they put in the burritos. And that way you don't have people passing dishes backwards and forwards, because you're at the island and it's easier to work around the island to make it there and then go over to the table to eat. It was kind of funny. Somebody said, how did you do that? How did you roll that up? And you go, I just rolled it up. And, they'll be going, well, I just rolled it up. And they go, well, how did you do it? It looks nicer than mine's falling out all over the place. And you'd have these conversations, and then you'd have people you'd have the kids teaching each other how to roll burritos and stuff like that. Same with taco shells. You get the taco shells, you get them heated up, you put them out there, they can make their own tacos, and they can go back for as many as they want, type of thing. So when you can do the things like, make your own, and you just have an island there that you can just put all the toppings on, or all of that, or even at the table, have all the toppings and the sauces and everything at the table, they can make their own dinner in a way. You're providing the ingredients, they get to choose what they want and put it in there. So that's another cool way. If you're making things like pasta from scratch, that's always a good thing to get kids involved with, because they're getting their hands into the flour and the eggs and stuff, and you're teaching them how to stretch out the dough and roll it all out and all that sort of stuff. Now that one takes a little more planning, because it takes a little longer to make the fresh pasta, but it's so good. Oh my gosh, it's so good. I'd love to go to Italy and actually learn how to make pasta. It could be trying a new activity. This is one of my favorite things to do. If you go on something like Meetup or Eventbrite, one of those sites where they have what's happening in the local community, they may be a pottery. Oh, one of my favorite. We actually did this impromptu in, where were we? We were at an amusement park in Florida. Can't remember which one. But the boys were off. The kids had walkie-talkies. We just sent them off with their walkie-talkies, and we had ours with us, and it was a great way to keep in communication with them. We told them which direction we were walking and to meet us at a certain place in an hour. And that's basically how we did our day at whichever park. I don't even remember which park we were at. And so we came across this pottery store, this ceramics store, and you go in there and they had all the raw, what do they call it? There's a certain name for it. It's all the uncooked pottery, and you can actually go in there, you pick your piece, you glaze it, and then they fire it in the kiln and they actually ship it home to you, and it's part of the cost. So it's free shipping. Well, it's actually tied into the cost of doing the things, and everything had different prices on it, and the price included the firing of it and the shipping home of it. And we had great, and so I looked at Brandon, he looked at me, and we said, why not? And so he picked a tankard. I picked a pitcher, and mine's basically yellow at the bottom, purplish around the top on the handle, and it's got this different glaze. It's all glazed on the inside. And Brad's tankard, I had it the other day. I'll have to find it again. He made his tankard, and when it came back, they actually refunded his entire project. And they refunded his project because something during the firing with the glaze didn't work very well. And it didn't crack it, but it didn't glaze properly. There was some imperfection on it anyway. And so they just refunded his money. And he ended up sitting on his desk, and he used it for a pen holder. Great way to do that. And there's lots of different places around that you can book in to go out, book in for a time, or some of them have walk-in if they've got the space available. If they don't have classes on, they may do walk-ins where you can go in and you can pick I wish I could remember the name of it. There's a certain name for the uncooked pottery. And you can go in there and you can paint it and glaze it, and it's yours. It's your piece. It's your creation. You can also do that for a kid's birthday party or something like that too. That's always a cool fun. I always like things where if you're going to do group activities for kids, things where they can interact and they can make something that they get to take home with them is always, I find, is always a good thing. I like those ones. This one, movies. I love movie night. What movie are you going to watch? So you play film roulette. Yeah, film roulette. Okay, you got a little woo-woo on this one. Now you can do it one of two ways. You can write down on a piece of paper a movie you would like to see. You've got your DVD collection there, you've got your online movie collection as well, and you write down a movie you want to see and you put it in a bowl and you pick it and you pull it and you swirl them around and pull them out. Or you go to wheelofnames.com and you list and you write out all the names of the movies into their database there, and you spin their wheel and you just press the setting of this. If you've never seen wheelofnames.com, it's really cool. If you're doing like drawings and things and you want to do live drawings, you put the people's names in there and then you get it to spin the wheel, and it's completely random. And so you can do something, and it's free. And you can also do it with movie titles. Type in the movie titles of, this is the genre I want to watch tonight. So which one of these will we end up watching? I want to watch classic movies. So you put in the classic movies like The Great Escape. You put in Breakfast at Tiffany's, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, just some classic movies in there. How to Marry a Millionaire. What's some of the other ones I've got in there? Breakfast at Tiffany's, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, Rear Window, North by Northwest. So you put all these movie titles into Wheel of Names and then spin the wheel, and that's your movie roulette. And whatever movie and whatever one it stops on, that's your movie for the evening. That could be a fun game to play. And if you've got like a family or a couple or something, age appropriate movies for kids and stuff like that. But if it's just a couple, one may have action, one may have chick flicks in there. I don't know. My husband liked my chick flick days. First movie was a chick flick, the rest were all action. So you just had to suffer through 90 minutes of a chick flick. And then we got to watch all these cool action movies. Which was interesting because after he passed away, I watched nothing but chick flicks for like 3 months. It was just solid chick flicks for 3 months. And I'm like, this is not me. Another one is to do a game night. Bring out some of the old classic board games and play those. When was the last time you pulled out Trivial Pursuit or Monopoly or Sorry or Life? What are some of the other ones in there? Or card games, and just sit at the table and play cards or play games. Just something completely different. Instead of sitting down together as a family watching TV at that night or something, just blobbing, do something more interactive and play games. That could be a cool one. A tech detox, unplug from social media, emails for 24 hours. Read a book, go for a walk, enjoy solitude time, go to the park, just anything that doesn't require an electronic device. Yes, that's my Sunday, with the exception of getting on the computer at 6 p.m. Pacific to do this podcast. That is basically the only time I am on a computer on Sunday, unless I am admin. I work admin on some events. So if I'm working an event and it's on a Sunday, then I have to be on the computer. So unless it's work related with something like that, where it's a 2-day event that's over a weekend, Otherwise, I am unplugged. Oh, and then once a month, Sunday mornings, I have one of the courses I'm taking. We do a Q&A workshop. So we submit our questions beforehand. The facilitator answers the questions and also does some training as well. And that's just one Sunday a month. And I figured I can handle that. And then I'm off the computer for the rest of the day until 6 p.m. Pacific. Another one you could do is random acts of kindness. You know, I like doing this one every now and again. If I'm going through a drive-through and there's a car comes up behind me, I'll say to the person, hey, I'm paying for whatever their order is. I want to pay for it. And they're like, you want to pay for that? And I'm like, and the reactions that you get from some people are like, oh, that's really cool. Another one's like, you want to pay for their thing? I was like, yeah. They go, why? I said, just because. And I said, just tell them that we're wishing them a happy, you know, a super fantastic sparkling day. And they're sort of like, oh, what? I said, just tell them to pay it forward and to have a super fantastic sparkling day. And they're like, okay. So whether that message actually gets passed along or not, I don't know. What are their reactions? I don't know. I don't care. If it's made their day, a little brighter, that's cool. I feel good about the fact that I've done this, and I do it in places where I know how to get out of the drive-through quickly so they can't follow me. So I make my quick escape. But things like that, you know, or you know, buy groceries for the person, behind you or the person that's coming up front. You know, if somebody comes up and you've got your trolley full of groceries and somebody's got 2 or 3 items, add them to your bill. Let them go ahead of you and tell them to add them to your bill. And that gets, you know, that one's sort of like a face-to-face thing with a thank you and all that. I rather do the drive-through thing because then they don't know who I am. You know, just something like that. Or if, you know, if you see somebody's having a bad day, just write them a note and just leave it on their desk. Something like that. You know, just little, it's just the little things. It doesn't have to be big and elaborate. It's just something little to make somebody's day brighter. It could be buying a meal for a homeless person, for somebody who's homeless. I've done that one time. I went into a coffee shop with them and got them a cup of coffee, a glass of juice, and I think it was a muffin and a breakfast sandwich. And the guy stands there and he says, this is very nice of you to do that. And I said, it's my pleasure. He says, can I give you a hug? I went, absolutely. I will tell you, that was the best hug I ever got. And he sat there at the table. I had to go on to the conference I was at because I was walking along to the conference. And so I had to go to that. And I said, I'm sorry, I can't sit and talk with you, but I have a conference I have to get to. It's starting in 30 minutes and I've got a 20-minute walk. He's sort of like, he says, no problem. He was just grateful to have a meal. So, you know, doing something simple like that. It's awesome. Swap roles. Now, Brad and I in our household, he would wash and dry the laundry. I would fold it and put it away or hang it up or whatever. So he would wash and dry. I would put the stuff away. There's times that just to change things up a little bit, I would go and put the washing on and do that. And he's like, well, I'm supposed to do that. And I says, no, you're putting the stuff away now. And he just looks at me like, you want me to fold laundry? And I went, yeah. You know, if somebody's like some couples are like, you cook, I'll clean. Switch that roles around every now and again, unless the person really can't cook. You know, just swap roles. If one person always does the driving, maybe you could switch, but not really. Another one that's on there is explore your local area. You know, there's no excuses for this one now. There's the book, Staycation Challenge, exploring your local area, different things that you can see and do in your local area that you can go and explore. And, you know, that one can take a little plan if you want to do it as a staycation challenge, but then it could also be like, oh, this place is having an exhibit on this weekend. Let's go. Okay. You know, or a last minute thing, or you're like looking in the newspaper at their list of events, in the local newspaper for the list of events, or you're online and you see a meetup or an Eventbrite event or some other event that's taking place in your local area. Another good place to find out what's going on in your local area is go to the Chamber of Commerce for your local area, their website, as well as the visitors information website as well, because they will have a list of events taking place. And it could be that there may be something on that you didn't know about. There might have been a fair and you're like, oh, I didn't know there was a fair. Well, let's go. Okay. Yeah, just simple, quick things that you can just go quick. And this last one that we've got on the list here is switch your workplace. And you're probably thinking, okay, I work in an office. Got it. But if you work from home, change your scenery. Like, this is where I sit and work each day. But every now and again, I have my craft room currently has a couple of tables in there that are together lengthwise, and I have my laptop set up in there for when I'm doing training. So if I want to concentrate on training, I go in there. There's literally nothing in the room except for 2 tables, a chair, my laptop, the pen holder, and my notebook. And then there'll be my workbook there for whatever training I'm doing if there's a workbook. And I just sit in there, and Zeffy doesn't even come into the room. She'll like stand at the door, see me working, and she'll just walk away. But it's a great spot to make it so different, because here I have so many distractions here. You know, I've got my little fiddly boxy thing here with push buttons and switches and buttons and whatnot. And I've got my little mini slinky. There's a lot of distractions on my desk. Over there, there's nothing. There is nothing. 2 tables, a chair, a laptop, the pen holder, the notebook, the workbook. That's it. The fan blowing, the AC going. I'm good. So if I wanted to go and work from in there for a day, I could go do that. If I wanted to work from sitting on my bed, I could do that if I wanted to as well. But I don't like. The bedroom is sacred. That is a sacred space. That is my space. Their phone does come in then with me now, because in the RV I left the phone out on the dining table and let it charge there overnight. But now I have it charging in the bedroom because it's just too far to walk to get it if I need it if it happens to go off in the middle of the night, and I probably wouldn't hear it. So that sits on the bedside table on the charger and doesn't get touched until the next morning. But otherwise, I don't allow my laptop in there. There's no TV in there. Never really liked TV in a bedroom. I mean, the RV had a TV in the bedroom. That's because it came with it. And what I did with it is that if I was sitting folding laundry, I'd put the TV on. But I also have a portable DVD player. So if I really wanted to watch something while I was folding laundry, I would put that on. Now I just grab my little portable speaker here and put my phone onto an audiobook, and I will sit and listen to an audiobook while I'm folding laundry or hanging it up. So yeah, let's just keep it's making sure that different spaces, but I could work in there if I wanted to, but I don't. I choose not to because it's a sacred space. I've got my little kitchen table in there that I can sit and work at if I want to, but not really. It slides around on the tile floor. I have to get a rug to go where I'm actually, and it's also a foldable table as well. It's meant to go in the craft room. It's also a foldable table as well. So it kind of slides around on the tiles a little bit, like you're sitting there and you're leaning on it, and the next thing you know, you're kind of down like this because it's moved across the floor. But I do have to get a floor rug to go under whatever table I'm going to put in there when I decide to go looking for one. I don't see the need right now. I have a table. It works. Yes, it does move around. But I found it the other day. I have those little, that squishy stuff that you put for under rugs. I have spare ones of those. And so I could always trim some of that off and put it underneath the legs and see if that helps. So yeah, so I could work from there if I wanted to, but I don't. I choose not to. I might go into my craft room, which is set up as my study room right now, and work from there. So that's changing the workspace. Maybe if you're at work and you work on a laptop, maybe you go sit in the conference room. If the conference room is not being used, go in the conference room. Or maybe you could go down to the coffee shop and sit down there and work. That's another place you could go. Whatever your work allows. Maybe you just have different workstations and you just plug them wherever when you come in. Maybe you're in one of those shareable work office spaces things where you go in and you can rent an office by an hour or a table space by an hour or whatever. Maybe you could go down and work at one of those for an hour or so or something like that too. This place is always fun. Some of them are anyway. But that's it from us for today. So we actually had 10 in there if you didn't know. So you've got the impromptu road trip, the themed dinner night where the whole family gets involved with cooking, trying a new activity. That's one I was going to mention, geocaching. Now, my parents got into geocaching eons ago, and Brad and I were looking at doing it, but we never got into it. But I think it'll be fun to take Zeffy on some walks and do some geocaching. And that's where you've basically got a GPS thing and you put the coordinates in for where the cache is, and you go and you can take something and leave something, I think is how it works. I don't know. I've got to go look it all up now and find out. Then there was, let's see. So road trip, dinner with the make your own stuff. Trying something new, film roulette, And that website was wheelofnames.com, where if you want to put it on a wheel. A game night, tech detox, random acts of kindness, swapping roles, exploring local areas, and switching your workspace, working from somewhere different. Those are your 10 things tonight for spicing up the routine. Hope you can find something to do. What are some things that you do to spice up your routine? Like taking a different route to work. What are some of the things that you do? What are some of the things that you do that we may not have mentioned this evening? Or one of the ones we mentioned, what are ones that you do frequently to help change things around? Anyway, that's it from us for this evening. Have a super fantastic, sparkling evening, and we'll catch you guys back here tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. Pacific. Hei konara.